kidding. They're not dead. Actually, they are dead. But in this case, that's a good thing because today I am harvesting potatoes. So if you're new here, I'm Tish, and I am a small space container gardener in the hot desert of Phoenix, Arizona. And this is one of my favorite harvests. And the reason being is, number one, I love to dig in the dirt. And number two, it's always a surprise. You don't know what you're going to find underneath that soil. So it's always a surprise. I don't know if I'm going to get one potato or 10. And so it's exciting. And let's see what we've got. All right, so before we get to harvesting potatoes, I'm just going to do a quick walkthrough on the garden and show you where we're at. All right, I've just about given up on tepary beans, you guys, because the thrips are absolutely destroying these plants. In fact, thrips have pretty much destroyed all of my bean plants, whether they're pole beans or bush beans or whatever kind of beans. Thrips have just about destroyed everything. So anyway, over here we've got okra getting ready to flower, looking nice. Onions are bulbing still and getting bigger, so I'm just going to keep letting those go because they haven't quite died back, or, you know, the greens are still green. I'm kind of waiting for those to die back, to be honest. So loofah climbing away, and watermelon on this side, and actually that came down off the trellis. That's okay. But that thing is vining out like crazy, and I love it. So let that do its thing, and I'm so excited to harvest potatoes. Over here, the corn, again, is still kind of doing its thing. Again, no beans, thrips, just a real problem this year, and they were as well last year. So I'm not happy about that, but it is what it is. I mean, that's just all part of gardening, right? All right, over here, let's look at the tomatoes. So we've got some blushing going on over here, so I'll be harvesting those any day. A little more over here, we've got some starting to turn. So I'm pretty happy with these plants. Poblano is growing like crazy. I'm not likely to get fruit, maybe in the fall, but we'll see. I will overwinter that, so I'm not worried about it. Mint looking good. Primrose bounced back. Beans are done. Like I said, the thrips have just completely destroyed them. These beans have dried out before they even got a chance to mature. So not a good thing. Not thrilled with that. Bell pepper's doing fine. And I think once I harvest the rest of these peppers, I'm going to go ahead and cut that back a little more just to give it a good start in the fall. All right, over here we've got the chimayo that is looking good. It's been hit with thrips as well, and, you know, not thrilled about it, but it's hanging on. It's doing its thing. So I'm all right with that. As you can see, the zinnia also getting hit with thrips. I don't know if you can see that in the shade. Parsley as well. As you can see, I put plastic forks in this bed because I've found the feral cats are starting to lay in it as the heat comes. So hopefully that will deter them from getting into this bed. What is that? That's cucumber, Armani. I forget what kind of cucumber. Yeah, cucumber. Anyway, cucumber's doing just fine. Stevia, I topped it, and it looks like we've got some new leaves coming in, but I'm hoping that will bush out a little more. All right, I am ready to go digging. So let's see what we've got in these potato bags. Now, I am throwing on these latex gloves because I am not about to go digging dirt out of my cuticles for the next week. So throw the gloves on and let's harvest. All right, I'm going to switch out these gloves for garden gloves because if you've ever tried to put on latex gloves when it's humid outside, impossible. So let's switch these out for garden gloves and then we'll get started. Okay, so I've turned the drip off on these plants about a week ago. So they've been without water for about a week. These bush beans, I'm going to go ahead and pull these. Again, you can see that they've just been destroyed. I got one bean, so that was awesome. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and pull these because they're not going to make it, not with the thrips. Another one over here that's actually two. That one's not looking too terrible, but yeah, this one's coming out. So I'm going to have to be a little more diligent when it comes to neem oil and try to get some of these thrips out of here. I lost my cork, so I've just covered that up with a rock. But okay, let's get to digging. Get some of this dead stuff out of the way. All right. Okay. And let's hope that we got some potatoes. Got another stem here. All right. All right. Let's go digging. We've got worms. Very cool. I like that. I like to see worms in here, but I really want to see potatoes. That's what I really want to see in here. Looks like we're going to have to dig pretty deep. Oh, all right. We got a little guy. I'll take it. And, you know I've said before that if I get one potato, I'm happy. I feel like that's a success. Not a great success, but a success nonetheless. All right, it's difficult to hold the camera and dig at the same time. All right, I am really gonna get in here because I feel like I need to dig deep. So far, we've got one potato. Ugh. I'm going two-handed now. Okay. So far, not looking good. One potato. And, like I said, I'm not going to complain because that's one more potato than I had. However, it's a little disappointing because that was a really big plant. That gave us one potato. All right, well, that was not great. And also, it could be the heat because these potatoes were started late. And I don't know, I feel like the heat may have had something to do with it, but who knows? I mean, growing potatoes is hit or miss. Sometimes you get a really good harvest. Sometimes you get one potato. All right, so I'm going to stop digging here because it looks like that is all we're going to get. So I'm going to move on to the next bag. All right, let's start with this guy now. Pull this one up. Get rid of that. Kind of taking everything with it. Those came out too easily, which makes me a little nervous. Okay. Oh, yes. All right, I feel some more down here. These are small, but you know what? I'll take them because they're still potatoes. I don't care what they look like. I don't care what size they are. So far, so good. All right. Let's see what else we've got in here. So starting these potatoes in just a couple inches of soil, you really, really want to dig down deep because some of these grow nearly at the bottom of the bag. And it looks like that is all for that plant. So not bad. Oop, here's another one. Couple of potatoes, smallish potatoes from each plant. And just an FYI, these were grocery store potatoes. They were just potatoes that I had that were starting to chit, so I decided to go ahead and plant them. So, yeah, grocery store potatoes, they did just fine, but I think that next year I'm definitely going to start seed potatoes. And those are basically, the difference is those are potatoes that are meant for planting. Not that you can't plant grocery store potatoes, because obviously you can, and you can grow potatoes from grocery store potatoes. However, I'm going to plant seed potatoes next year and see what the difference is in my harvest. So I'm curious to find out how that's going to go next year. Did I just move the camera? It was a little decent sized one. I think I did. Let's see what else we've got in here. Oh, I fell one. These are some really funky looking potatoes. Look at that. It's pretty cool though. That may be all we're getting. And I'm a little disappointed because like I said, I was hoping for more, but it doesn't always work out. Last year I had a really decent potato harvest. This year, not so much. But again, next year I'm going to try some different potatoes, along with making sure that they are seeded potatoes. So like I said, these were really not intentionally grown potatoes. I mean, I intentionally planted them. However, they are from the grocery store, just that had started chitting. So I just decided to throw them in the garden, just, you know, spur of the moment, whatever. Didn't actually plan for it. So it just happened. So, you know, getting some potatoes off of it, I'm fine. It's just a little bit, and that's okay. Because monsoon season is on the way. As you can tell, it's pretty windy here. We had a little bit of rain this morning. But with monsoon season coming, I'm hoping that I can start some potatoes a little early this year. I'm thinking maybe September. So I'll probably plant seed potatoes. And like I said, I want to try and see what the difference actually is. I know that those are russet potatoes, and I've had really good luck with the white potatoes, the Yukon Gold, those ones. I've had really good luck with Yukon Gold. And again, those were store-bought potatoes. But I'm going to try seed potatoes next season, and we'll see what kind of harvest we get. Okay, so now that these bags are empty, with the exception of this little bush bean that is trying to hang on despite the thrips attack, I'm going to go ahead and put in some rattlesnake pole beans. And these are supposed to be very heat tolerant. And I am going to be very diligent about using neem oil, spraying these down morning and night so that I can try to take control of the thrips and not let them get too far. So I'm going to refresh the soil, top it off with some compost, put these seeds in, and then I'm going to go ahead and let this watermelon trail along these two bags just to provide a little bit of shade to those roots. So we'll see how it works out. Okay, so I've got some rattlesnake pole beans, and I'm just going to drop them in. I'm going to plant them kind of deep because it is hot, and I would like those to germinate. And as you know, the soil dries out really fast. So I'm just going to plop a bunch in here. So I've added compost and worm castings to these bags. And I also added some stalks from some old dead sunflowers. I saved the stalks just for this purpose. These are great for anything to climb, anything vining. So these will be perfect for the beans to climb up. So I'm going to continue getting these planted. And then I'm going to go ahead and water them in and get that watermelon trained to grow across the grow bags. So let's see how it works out. Okay, so we've got our pole beans planted. We've got everything mulched. And we've got our watermelon starting to cover kind of the growing area down there. I added another stick here just to kind of lean that bush bean, that lone bush bean up against. And yeah, we've got our DIY trellis. So that's good and ready to go. So we'll see what happens. Whew, thanks for joining me on our mini potato harvest. But hey, a little bit is better than nothing. And like I said, I'll take it. Couple things going for monsoon planting, and I've got a vacation coming up, so after that I'll do a little more monsoon planting and maybe start a few things to get ready for the fall garden. So thanks for joining me, and happy gardening.